So the thematic compass will flip on end step. Let's see if we can resolve this. That's very strange. They're at 17, so they're going to have to block. Well, they don't have to block, but if they have mass bounce, and we are in a lot of trouble. Are you into big jugs? Because this could be the deck for you. Graaz Unstoppable Juggernaut creates Juggernauts. It's pretty simple. Well, it gives all Juggernauts attack each combat available, and they can't be blocked unless by walls. So this is a global ability for all your Juggernauts, but everything's going to be Juggernauts. Other Juggernauts will be 5/3, which is super powerful because if you play lots of smaller things out like Stonecore Serpent early on, Zenith Chronicler, which is a brand new card by the way, which is very good in one-on-one and very good if you're using colours deck, because a lot of opponents use colours cards, and when they do, they're going to be drawing you a card, which is super powerful. So I said all these small things, even stuff like Ornithopter of Paradise will become a big jug later on. 5/3, flying, can't be blocked except by walls. There's not many walls in the format anyway that people use. So obviously, you want to use this as a win con because it's so expensive, and if it dies, getting to 10 mana is a bit tricky. Best card on the deck, as usual, colours is Forsaken Monument. Cast this on turn 4 or 5 after some more ramp, and then following turn you'll have like 10, 11 mana, 12 mana to do as you please. And it's just super OP, this card. We've got the usual trick with the Khan the Great Creator. If your opponent's using rocks and you drop this down, they're screwed. They can't use any of the rocks. So this is going to be very good, especially against Atraxa decks and Niv Mizzet decks. Yeah, the end game is, as usual, we've got Cityscape Leveler to blow stuff up. You've got the Meteor Gunner to blow stuff up, and Ugin as well. We don't have Big Ulamog because we want to focus all our mana into Graaz and more of a attack strategy rather than control strategy. But yeah, if you enjoy making big fat jugs, check out the deck list below and you can make your own. And yeah, it's just a very fun deck. Seems to be pretty popular in paper. And yeah, don't forget to drop me a like, sub, and watch the content unfold. Watch the big jugs do their thing. Cool, let's get in the game. Okay, we go first against Acererak, and it's a mono-black combo build. So what the heck is the game putting me against this for? I actually have no idea. Kind of strange. It's not an interactive deck. All they do is to cast Acererak and bring it back to hand over and over again. So it is a bit unfortunate that the game does perceive our decks as equal value. Strange. So next time they can start the Acererak train, where they just keep casting it, returning it, and blah blah blah. Boring. Pretty boring, to be honest. But that is the way the cookie crumbles, sadly. If you can get Graaz out, I mean, they've got black, though. They can just kill Graaz pretty easily. Dungeon map. And they also used the Paradox combo as well. Treasure Vault. And then we can go for the... These are both very similar cards, but I think Astral Cornucopia gives us some mana here. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean... Playing Graaz here feels pretty wasteful, especially when they can just probably kill him. The only advantage we have against black is they don't have artifact removal. Once it hits the field, it's pretty much there, but I say that and they literally just kill an artifact land. Oh well. Fair enough. Interesting that they went for this. I guess they didn't want us to ramp so hard, but I'd rather probably keep that land for now. The Argento Master is going to discard a non-land card. This is actually a pretty cool card against multicoloured. On your upkeep, sack it unless you discard a card, so that's fine. And then if you do, destroy non-land permanent with mana less than or equal mana value. So this could have destroyed any of their things, but it's a shame we weren't able to do that. Let's kick this. Basically, we're going to get as much mana out as possible. And yeah, so our hand is completely empty now. This is exactly the kind of hand you have when you want to use Kozilek, because we are just running on fumes now. We have not much to go on. I mean, we can draw a couple of cards with the Archive. We can destroy we can destroy a permanent with the Obelisk, but we'll probably save this if they go for like Paradox Engine or something. It's curious to see they've not cast Acererak once, though. Normally, against these Acererak players, they've cast him multiple times by now. Oh, okay. Khan's good. Let's start making big attackers. And then we can even start swinging with these guys as well. Okay. And then let's pay... let's put 2 more counters on this Crawling Barons here. I don't know why my avatar keeps saying white. That's very strange. I've banned all emotes, so it's interesting. They have the kill spell for the 8/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. What have they got in their hand? Have they got an Ulamog or something? I feel like they've got an Ulamog, because why would they be so concentrating? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's make another creature then. So if they have a board wipe, we're in a lot of trouble. So we probably don't want to go for the Graaz yet. Oh wow, we get them. We get them with just regular attacks. Sweet. And that's like a combo deck we just beat. What is in my deck that is making me face these mono blue control decks? What the hell is going on here? Quite annoying. I try not to get annoyed when I'm recording. I really honestly do try my best, but sometimes some decks I make for fun, like this is meant to be just a fun deck really, with just creatures in it and just smash and face. But it's to get the content I need for the channel. I have to sift through so many players to get to some fun games, but I'm going to be honest with you all, it's just so difficult these days, you know. Especially when you get huge channels like CGB or LVD pushing the very powerful cancerous decks that we all know. We all know what's going on there. You know, their videos get like 40,000 views for something like Slivers or 5-color good stuff, and it's just, it means that, you know, people want to copy it because they want to win. That's how humans work, but it just makes the queue hell. And yeah, I get that you want to win. We all want to win. That's... They're going to return that to hand. That's interesting. Non-land permanent. I actually can't believe that says non-land. I used to think that said creature. But yeah, the point is, like, surely at some point, these people like CGB, they want to make fun decks, right? No? Like, at some point, don't you think that these people want to just have a fun... You know what I'm saying? Just a fun game. But then what happens when, like, you do want to have a fun game? You've created this meta of ultra-powerful decks and or players. So now you can't have fun because the only sandpit you had, you've basically pissed in. And you should never just piss in a sandpit you're playing in, because it's the only thing you've got. You know, we only have this one queue. So my point is, it's not just having the powerful decks. That's fine. It just needs to be in its own queue. Because if every deck is just cancer, no one is going to have fun. I've spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of them feel disenfranchised with this game. And they don't want to play anymore. And I think that is just partly due to the spikes in the historic Brawl, which is, you know, these things always start off as fun little games, but then eventually they become, it's like a escalation, isn't it? Race to the most powerful decks. And that's why when I make fun videos like Graaz, which is meant to be literally fun, there's nothing super special about this. It's just, yeah. What can I say? Take that out. So next time we can go for the Forsaken Monument, or maybe the Wormcoil Engine, but... Okay. This is interesting, right? So we go for the Monument. And then we could turn it into a creature, but they might bounce it, so... Let's just not turn anything on here. I mean, blue does have a lot of return non-land permanent stuff to hand, so we could be in trouble. But yeah, it would just be nice to face a non-blue deck as well. There's just a lot of those. Non-blue, non-5-color. That is just the meta. But what do you think? Should there really be a meta in a casual format? they tried their best gating off certain decks. So you've got the Hell Queue, which is like all the ridiculous stuff like 5-color Niv, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, all that stuff. But even though sometimes those bleed into the tier 1 queue, and then sometimes the tier 1 queue bleeds into the tiers below. And I just don't know what's happened to fun decks. Surely not everyone watching these videos is just out there to make evil decks, are they? Unless it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's 5 power. That's pretty powerful when it swaps the power toughness. Okay. But yeah, surely there's people out there who want to make fun decks, and that's the goal of the channel, to try and make some fun decks, but it's difficult to show people new fun strategies and decks when all I'm facing is tier 1, because it's just it's an unreasonable expectation. And a lot of people in my Discord say stuff like when they go to FNM, they play people who are just, their deck is like leagues above theirs and it's not fun. Well, exactly. You wouldn't want that scenario, would you? So there's 10 mana open. We could go for the Ugin. And then that would still make stuff too cheaper for colourless. It's pretty good. And then the Wormcoil Legend could come out as well. Okay, so we can then... See, the issue is here that if we don't deal with the Master of Winds, I think we have to just kill the Naban, because he's going to get double triggers on all wizards, and I'm taking he's got a lot of wizards in his hand. And yes, we will lose the Ugin here, but at least we got basically Ugin and Wormcoil Engine out in the same turn. Yeah, because imagine they had something like, I don't know, a wizard that tapped or banned. Yeah, would be in trouble, but... Wow, so Nykthos tapped for 5 blue there. That's a lot of extra mana. Not liking my chances here, really. And there you go, Time Warp. One of the most frustrating cards to face. And if you've not been on the channel before, I do apologise for having this rant, but it's just... You know, I don't try and hide my personality. Like a lot of other channels kind of... They kind of want to have this... I suppose it's like a face, isn't it? It's like your business face. You don't want to look negative or stuff, but people who are subscribed to this channel, then you probably know what you've come here for anyway. And I've heard people like the commentary anyway, so this is the commentary on the meta essentially. So my opinion of Time Warp is I would happily not have it in the format. Pretty simple. The only way that I would be happy if it was in the format is if they errated the card to say exile this card once it hits the graveyard, because in any way, like even if it's milled, because people will see, they're going to do it here. They're going to return that to the hand right now. So yeah, it's a loop. They can return the Time Warp to their hand, and they can just keep doing it. If they can flicker this Salvager of Secrets, then they can just continuously do it, and we don't have anything to block, annoyingly. And they've got a 5 mana flyer. So I'm pretty sure we're just dead, really. Because even if we do get to our turn, let's theorise, yeah? They could just leave all the mana up and cast any blue spell, which taps our Wormcoil Engine, and then we just can't attack and gain the 8 life. So now Nykthos taps for even more. 7 mana. And the barn. So let's imagine they had Salvager of Secrets out. When the barn was on the field, they would have had 2 spells back. So they would have had Time Warp and I don't know, probably this Mentor's Guidance, which is really powerful in the deck as well to draw multiple cards. So with 8 mana open, they can flicker this, get 2 spells back, and get another extra turn. Okay, yeah. They've got infinite turns here, basically, because the Metamorph comes in as a copy of the Salvager. It's a wizard, it gets 2 triggers, it returns the time warp. And this is why time warp doesn't need to be in the format. I don't really understand why it was introduced. It's very bewildering, to be perfectly honest. The format actually was pretty safe at one point. When, you know, this is about 3 or 4 years old in this format. They were called Mystical Archives, which was added when Strixhaven came out. And the Mystical Archives brought with it some insane cards that should never have touched this format with a barge pole. Another one is Demonic Tutor, which isn't legal, but you can use it with one of the cards which drafts, or a couple of the cards that drafts it. Oh, and they're flickering it here, which means they get 2 more triggers. They don't even need to do that. They've literally just won the game. So yeah, Time Warp is definitely indicative of what is wrong with this format. It takes away player skill as well, because it means that you can make mistakes and it essentially rewinds time, because let's say you make a mistake early on. Playing the Time Warp means you get to just do the whole turn again, but also it's not interactive because we're not having an exchange. I'm just literally, for the last how many minutes now? 5 minutes, just watch them do stuff, and this is going to be, what, their 3rd or 4th activation of Time Warp, so I don't really understand how any of this is happening. Because if you took away Time Warp, right, let's just take away Time Warp for a sec, what would they actually be doing? We would have actually had a turn or 2, wouldn't we? We would have maybe been able to strike them with the Wormcoil Engine. And do you know what? The funny thing is, we still probably wouldn't have won anyway, because Gadwick would be able to use the flicker spell on our turn to tap one of our things. So the truth is, they don't even need the Time Warp to win. It just feels very win more in a lot of scenarios. And also Mono Blue, it has access to counter spells. They're not used any here, which is very strange. But it doesn't absolve them of infinite turns. Let's just concede, because they've got the victory and they're just being an absolute prick. Like, what is the point? They can just swing in. But yeah, there you go. Mono Blue. A joy to face. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.